So how hot is it there?
It's hot as hell. It's 92 degrees in here.
Oh man. So did you turn the fan back on?
Yeah, I got it on low. I got some air circulating.
Okay, we're live. All right, guys, we want to welcome you to the Mad Maker Show. We've had an awesome pre-show situation going on here. Sterling Davis. Doc was saying he had a big microphone in front of him, and we're like, "Could you move it to the side?" He said, "This is not even working."
The way it went down is I said, "Hey Sterling, could you please move that mic a little bit to the left? It's in the shot. This microphone isn't even hooked up right now because it's hooked up to the laptop." I was like, "Are you kidding me? Get it out of the way."
And then he says, "Go ahead, Sterling, go."
Ain't that a pretty microphone?
It's a paperweight. And then Sterling says, "You know what? I'm turning off. I want clear audio, so I'm going to go turn off the fan." He sits down. He starts dripping. I'm sweating too, just from laughing. And I said, "No, the audio is good." He turns back. We've had a fun time. His laptop kept going in and out. This has been insane. Yeah?
It's pretty hot.
It's part of our
It's going to be a hot show tonight, Eloy.
So we want to welcome you guys to the Mad Maker Show. We've had a blast just now. I've been cracking up. Today we have Sterling Davis as our guest. I just want to mention a couple of things before we get started. Mad Maker Show, we interview cool people from around the world. They create things, they invent things. They're crazy, insane, mad. That's why we're here. A lot of the people in the chat, as they start scrolling, and you see the chat playing off to the side, well, they're part of this community, and we're all interconnected, and so that's what we do. If you come across this, check out all their links. Check out the links in the description. We're going to interview Sterling Davis in a couple of moments, but we're going to turn it over to the doctor.
Hi, kids. How's it going? Good to be here again. See all your smiling faces on the internet. Eloy, thanks for having me on again. Sterling, how you doing, brother?
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's just a pleasure to be here with you.
Hey, I'm
yeah, I am Doc Hildebrant. Name is Jared. Flying9.com. Check me out. JP's usual plugs. jpwoodwork.com. makersinternationalpodcast.com. harneilmedia.com. Makers Media Network, Mancrafting, and I think I got all that stuff. JP is out on assignment right now doing super secret scroll saw stuff that you don't even know about. So it's so next level. It's like a laser scroll saw. I think he was inventing it himself. He made a loose. He was telling me about it. Some new stuff coming out from JP. Anyway, yeah, that's it for me and my plugs and ridiculous stuff. What's up to everybody in the chat? I'll run through yours real quick. Say hi to everybody. Temple boys out there. Thank you for the donation there, Temple. That was mighty nice of you. I'll get you your link once I'm done rambling on, amigo. We got Temple, Frank CNC, and Woodworking Channel, and his workshops out there. Portal Woodworks, OJ's Woodworking. Portal. I said Portal already. Steve Harneil's out. Steve, I just did it. Oh man, I just did it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Steve. Steve Nealon, my boy. I'm so embarrassed.
It's a good thing, Doc.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. You put that in my brain. That's not. You uploaded that to me. I have a real. That's not good. All right. Anyway,
my job has been.
I know you're so happy with yourself right now.
I love when that happens.
I'm so disappointed. All right. And the Patrick's is in the house. The General, Bob Lee. What's going on, brother? 5x30. What's up, Jules? And Julian's out there. And Haru is in the chat. How's everyone doing tonight? Throw some questions for Mr. Davis in the chat for us, and I'm going to kick it back to Eloy. Eloy, back to you.
All right, thanks, dude. By the way, thank you for coming on. JP is traveling through. You know, I wrote him a private message, and he says, "Dude, I'm traveling my way. I want to talk to Sterling, but maybe I'll make it. Make sure to give me that link so that I can jump on the show. If I make it, you know, in time, that means that we might have a situation where we have Sterling, Doc, JP, and I in the same first ever situation. Don't know if that's going to happen or not." I want to quickly run down through a couple of things, very important. Harneal Media, Steve Nealon, Steve Harneal. Makers Media Network has a place where you can go and visit. It's an all one-stop shop for shirts. First time ever done. Sterling is on there. Doc is on there. Javi's Woodshop, Jimmy Page, OJ. I mean, there's like 50 some odd shirts up there. So we'll drop a link for that so you can see it. But the cool thing is that now exists a place where all these makers have, you know, a place to sell their items. So that's awesome. There's a plywood challenge occurring. That's run by portalwoodworks.com. Big deal because there's about 12 prizes, gift cards, shirts, all sorts of stuff being given away. Flying Nine Industries mallet as well. That's by Doc. So there's a lot of stuff. Music pack and all that. You just build yourself something out of plywood, sheet of plywood or smaller. So that's happening on portalwoodworks.com. Check out, I think it's events or challenges under challenges, and you'll see that. So yeah, very, very cool challenge as well. Last year, I won a Miter Mike's shirt. So that's a cool thing. Portal, thank you. I just saw that. And Temple Boy, thank you guys for the support. There's something else that I wanted to mention, but I can't think of it right now. We're going to go ahead and go. Is there anything that I missed, Doc, or we're good?
Yeah, we want to say thanks to OJ, OJ's Woodwork and Crafts for the super chat as well. Thank you guys very much. It's awful nice of you.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you guys do me a favor. Private message me the link you want me to throw up. That way we can do it properly, and you can get whatever you're most active on out to the people. That'd be great.
All right, awesome. So let's welcome Sterling Davis. Sterling, dude, listen. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I really don't know what I have to offer as far as what I mean. I'm pretty mad, so I mean that would tie in. But I do make stuff, so that ties in. But you know, as far as some of the one thing I am upset about, and I'll say this outright and publicly, Jamie Page, I am a little bit upset he's not here, but yet he could be here last week for the Scroll Saw Scribbler. That's a little upsetting, but we'll get past that. So,
shots fired. Shots fired.
Well, he did, honestly, Sterling, he did reach out to me. Believe it or not, he reached out to me. Well, it's funny. It's a double-edged sword. There's more to it because he should have told me prior that he was going to be busy because I had to reach out to Doc last minute. And Doc was like, yeah, man, sure, no problem, man. Let's do it. And I was like, okay, cool. But if not, it would have been a situation on the Mad Makers show. But to his credit, he's traveling cross country, England,
space and time as well. Country and space and time.
Oh, country and space and time. So yeah,
he's that mad.
But he did reach out, Sterling, and say, dude, I want to be there with because I want to talk to him. And so just keep that in mind, Sterling, when you get ready to open up that can of whoop ass. Just please keep that in mind.
So you just got to remember the little people now.
So, dude. So yeah, dude. So I appreciate you coming on. We were talking. You're a laid back guy in many regards, and you're very humble as well and kind spirited. And that's the impression I've always received from you, like a down to earth, person. And that's kind of the people that I like, right? Not, putting on airs and all that. You at the same time, you told me, well, dude, I guess I'll go on, but really, what are we going to talk about in this and that? And I said to you, but Sterling, you're like an integral part of the community, and you know, we want to ask you questions and find out, you know, what your thoughts and inspirations are. You're like, all right, but you know, I mean, all these cool people and this and that. I was like, you know, really like thinking, wow, you know, that's a very humbling thing. What do you have anything to say about sort of those thoughts?
Well, I mean, I like to think of myself in the community as a cheerleader. I mean, there's been known to be a controversy there, one or two, but I mean, overall, I try to be positive. I try to be, you know, someone that's going to speak up and help cheer people along on whatever level they're on. If it's a beginning level or if it's somebody that's out there that's, you know, well known, regardless. You know, if you're doing something positive, I like to, you know, boost that up and just, you know, spread the good vibe. So, as far as when I say I don't have anything to offer, I don't mean that in a sense that I don't have anything to offer. I mean it as if I don't sell anything. I don't. I'm not trying to be a YouTube channel to where I've got 100 million subscribers. Subscribers are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash that by no means. That's a great thing. And if you're able to do that, so be it. That's not what I'm after. The whole purpose behind what I'm doing is sharing what I do, how I do it, and maybe someone out there that don't have the knowledge that I have can learn from it, take something from it, build from it, and, you know, just create. This is more of a, this is my solitude. This is what keeps me sane because I have, you know, a job. I got a full-time job I go to every day. And this is something I come home to that relaxes me. It's something that just, you know, gives me that free spirit, I guess you say. So when I say I don't have nothing to offer, I don't mean it as far as, you know, I do have a decent following. I'm shocked and awed and surprised with the following I do have. But what I gain more from this is the kinship and the friendships that I've created throughout the past 4 or 5 years in this community. I mean, it really is. It is a humbling experience.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it totally is. And I see your point, the way you see that as far as your placement. But are you open to the suggestion that there's even more there? There. In other words, so people look to you, you know, also for inspiration. Well, you did mention that, but you know that your placement within the community is very important to people. Yeah, you see that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You know that.
sure. I mean, I you know, if someone asks a question and, you know, it's just today we had someone that had a scroll saw question about a scroll saw, and someone had tagged me in it, you know, saying, "Hey, can you help this guy out?" Well, that was, you know, I thought pretty cool because they thought of me to help a guy that has the same, you know, liking that I have and see if I could help him. Now, whether or not I could help him or not, I don't know, which I hope I did. I think I did. But that's an outlet for someone, I'm known for be kind to one another and scroll sawing. I'm okay with that, but there's other little things that I do, but it's not about doing those things and selling those things and building a business. And it's about sharing. That's what it's about to me. It's about sharing and just, helping people in general.
Okay, very good. So I didn't want to, from the first question going into this, I didn't want to go in this direction, but I have to for a moment because something popped up. So I just want to intro this. The first time that I came across you was through the group on Facebook, and I heard about your challenge. I didn't know who you were, what you did, this and that, but people were saying Sterling Davis. I think this was probably, was it 2015 or 16?
The first one I did, I believe, was 2014.
Okay.
That was the very first one.
Well,
but I did it for about 4 years after that, and yeah. The pallet upcycle challenge.
Yes, the pallet upcycle challenge. It was a big deal for me. It was because, a bunch of makers getting together, put in a playlist and stuff. You know what? I don't think you put me on that playlist, dude.
Oh, yeah, I did. I had to have.
Okay. So in any event, it was an awesome thing, because just, challenges are badass. We have a question concerning that, but I wanted to mention that point that I met you through that. I saw you first through that, and I had not any idea of Sterling Davis until that point. And so Doc has a question to ask from outside.
Sure.
All right, Sterling. The first question was from Julian 5x30. That was, what inspires you?
What inspires me is other people. When I look through other people's work and say, hey, I want to try to do that, not because that person did it, but to see if I can do it. So it's what I see in other people that inspire me. Challenges, I think, is a big part of that. When it comes to, Justin and, scroll sawing, and we talk a lot of junk, but he's a cool dude. But he had this little challenge that he got me involved with, and several other people was involved with it. Julian was involved with it. Bobby Duke, Andy Berkey, the scroll saw street art challenge. That's something that challenged me to get out of my norm of what I typically would do on scroll sawing, whether it be, regular fret work or whatever, and do something a little bit different in that style, still being scroll sawing, but a different style of scroll sawing. So that was a challenge for me. It helped me learn different things. So that inspires me a lot. The challenges help push people to do things they're not typically going to do normally, I personally think.
All right, that ties into my next question. Do you plan on starting any challenges in the future? I mean, you started the best one. That's from Steve Nealon, by the way. And on a personal note, if you go around the YouTube community of woodworkers or upcyclists or makers, even, a lot of people's first video was for your challenge.
Yeah,
one way or another, you hear that a lot when people are talking that oh yeah, my first video was Sterling's pallet challenge.
Yeah.
And so that's something you should be very proud of.
And it is. It's not something I like to boast over, but it is something that I am very proud of. But at the same time, that's not the intent of why I did it. Just think if those challenges, I'm going to throw a name out there, and I'm not trying to name drop, but if those challenges wouldn't have come out there, would there have been a Paul Jackman? Probably. Not as soon as it was, but probably. But the reason he came on the board as he did was through the Pallet Upcycle Challenge. To me, that's pretty cool.
Right. Well, that is what you set out to do, though. You got people to participate.
Yeah, but as far as doing it for people to make livings out of it, I never dreamed in a million years that would happen. I'm happy that is happening. I'm happy that's what took place. But that's not what I was after. I was after getting people to challenge themselves to do things that they wouldn't typically do. And I got a lot of backlash from that too. There's a lot of good came from it, but there's a lot of backlash that come from it too. So, but no, I don't. I actually gave up. I don't want to say I gave up. I did. I don't want to get too personal, but I had some things that come up within my life to where I couldn't do it and be efficient the way I wanted to be. So I did it to where I let someone within the community take over that. And I think they'll do fine. I think they'll do a good job. I think they, want to see the same thing. So hopefully they'll carry on that tradition. But in my work, what I do on day to day and the things that come up within my life, I just, I didn't have the time to do it, I guess would be the best answer.
All right, very cool. Very cool. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the good right man from Broadstairs. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, everyone?
We did it, Sterling. Remember, it's just like you wanted.
I know,
Been a
cool.
long day. Been a very long day.
I see some pretty cool pictures. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, all because of you, Sterling. All because of you.
Well, heck, this is like mad gold here.
For the first time ever in perfect 4-part harmony.
Well, and
Yeah.
I told him earlier I was going to be really upset if you didn't come on here after being on with
Yeah.
Dustin last week.
Yeah, I'll tell you now, Stone, your name come up a few times today at
Well,
the
good.
at Record Power.
Good deal. I just followed them on Instagram. I seen the pictures you was posting. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, yeah, walking through the warehouse, seeing a nice big wall of scroll saws there.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Can you
Pretty
tell
cool.
us a little bit, whatever you can?
Nope. Unfortunately, it's under wraps.
Oh, that's awesome. That's enticing and dramatic. That's what we like.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, dude. So can I continue on now with Sterling? And what we'll do is everybody that has questions here can, whenever they like, they can add to the awesomeness. But I want to get a little bit of Sterling's past first.
Yep.
Okay.
The nitty gritty.
All right. So where do I start? Let's see.
Well, let me frame it for you.
Okay.
Sterling, give us the nitty gritty.
Well, let's see. I was just recently let go of my last job. I was.
No, I don't want to know that, Sterling.
Well, no. Apparently, the Waffle House frowns upon the making meth in the bathroom, so they let me go. I found another job. I'm working down at Dangles now. They got me in charge of cockfighting, and so once they got a winner and a loser with the cockfighting. So the loser, I'll take them out back, skin them, and they'll use that chicken for the menu for Dangles. So that's pretty cool.
That's actually a great idea. We've got another thing to add to Dangles.
You're hired.
You're hired, dude, like yesterday.
We like this rogue thinking.
Yeah, cockfighting fried chicken.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that afterward.
Yeah, that's a reference to a show that we do not recommend. We always state we do not recommend people go and listen to that podcast. It's scratched with a D, forget the E. Podcast. We don't recommend it, but however a lot of people enjoy it. I don't know why. We'll leave that to the side and we'll focus on Sterling Davis. How's that?
Well, I laugh so hard listening to the conversation. It's just so funny because I laugh out loud. I yell at the freaking iPad and I'm listening to it on. It's just funny. But anyway, I digress.
So here's what I want to ask you because I don't know, how much folks know out there, but I want to get it for the record. So Sterling, give us a little bit of your growing up, where you're at, where you're from, a couple of childhood, just so that the person viewing this for the first time, they get a picture. They can sort of like imagine themselves, Sterling growing up, environment, all that, whatever you want to share.
All right. Well, I mean, growing up at home, I grew up on a farm. I grew up I was at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina, close to Tennessee there, and mountain life, farm life. I grew up milking cows, picking beans, churning butter on the front porch. I mean, the whole farm deal. We moved from that area when I was probably 7, 8 years old, second, third grade. I don't remember right offhand, but I guess you would say it was in a city. It was there was more stores around, and I grew up riding bikes and going through the woods, and just if something was broke, you fixed it. It wasn't like you ran to the store or called up or looked up on the internet for somebody to come out and fix it for you. The horse broke through the fence, you go out and you fix the fence. The bull busts through the barn door, you put up a new barn door. It may not be the prettiest barn door, but it worked. So you learn to fix things on your own. You learn to kind of MacGyver, I guess you would say, things to where it would work. And really, when we moved, grocery stores was fascinating to me because I never saw grocery stores. I guess kind of like, I know I've heard you talk about Publix. I know you got Winn-Dixie's in your area. Well, there was a Winn-Dixie in our area. I was just fascinated with the operation. And I I'd be unloading. I go back there and the guy give me $1 and I'd be slinging groceries off of this truck illegally, obviously, because I was, 12, 13 years old working. But that $1 meant a lot to me back then. I'd go out and buy 5 or 6 packs of baseball cards with $1.
Nice.
And it just, the industry fascinated me. And obviously, when I turned 16 and was able to work there legally, I legally got a job there, and really been working in the grocery industry all my life. That's what I do. A lot of people wonder what I do. I'm in the grocery industry. I run a grocery store, and it's actually a town over, but it's just, and I don't know why it fascinates me. It's just, that's,
Very
now,
interesting.
when it comes back to the making thing, there was a time, I've been doing the grocery business 33 years. So I got to the point to where probably after, 20 years of it, I was burned out. I'd come home upset. I'd be mad, frustrated. I had no outlet. And then I started looking on YouTube at these videos, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. I used to do stuff like this. And then I, come across a few videos and said, I want to get back into doing this. So I started, tinkering in the garage, just making a few things, buying a few tools. And
Question about that before you continue with the story. At that point, what tools did you not have at that point? After that point you thought, well, I'm going to get this, and that. So what did that shop look like there at that point, and then after the fact when you started sort of getting inspired again, and then continue with your story?
It's easier to tell you what I did have versus what I didn't have. I had a hammer, screwdriver, ratchet set, a drill, and pliers. Common basic tools. I didn't have a scroll saw. I didn't have a lathe. I didn't have a planer. I didn't have a joiner. Didn't have none of those things. Didn't have a router table. So didn't have a drill press. I'm just looking around my shop now. That same year that I started my, I guess you want to say, getting back into the hobby of woodworking, my wife bought me the Craftsman table saw that I still use to this day. It's probably 25 years old, plastic top, piece of junk. Switch don't work. I have to get a hammer and hit the side to turn it on. But that's my saw, that's what I use. And it was just when I got back into making things, and the more videos I watched, and the more I seen how the community in itself was growing and building each other up. That's what I loved about it. It was building each other up. And I don't think people that were doing that realized how big this thing was going to get. And I don't think it's gotten to the point it's going to get bigger. I really do believe it's going to get bigger. But they didn't realize how big this was going to get. And it's, a lot of people might say it's saturated. I don't think it's saturated at all. Because there's so many different things out there, it's breaking off into its own different groups. Which is cool, that's fine. But it's nice to be in a group to where you got 10, 12, 15 scroll sawers to go to, or 10 or 12, 15 different lathe operators to go to, or, fine tool workers to go to. So it's cool to see how it's breaking off, and you've got that area that you could go to if you have a question. And guess what? You get that answer. There's nothing to hide. Nobody hides nothing. Nobody is trying to keep trade secrets, or it's all out there for anybody. All you got to do is ask. And there's communities out there that just give back, and it's phenomenal. But anyway, I digress again. I'm sorry. But as far as just why I'm doing what I'm doing, it was honestly to keep me sane. It was to bring me back into the perspective of not being caught up in the corporate world. That's my job. That's what I do. That's my paycheck. That pays my house payment. But you have to have something that gives you that relaxation. And that's what scrolling does. Lathe turning, building a little box. That's what that does for me. That's what my channel's all about. it's not about teaching, growing, building, or starting a business. It's about keeping my sanity.
I understand. And you've mentioned that to me and maybe to others prior, you know, in different hangouts and stuff. You've alluded to that it's an outlet and whatnot. So I totally see that. So a lot of folks connect you with different tools, and it could be the scroll saw, it could be something other, you know, like lathe, and but the scroll saw has been a very, like, a lot of people know you from the scroll saw. Is that, would you say that's fair?
That's very fair. A lot of people accuse me of stealing Steve Good's logo as this logo right here, and this is a Steve Good pattern. But I've known Steve Good for 7 years. He's probably the first YouTuber that I watched, the first person I ever communicated with in the community. And my first question was him was, you know, you're the one that inspired me. You're the one that's helping me. There's a pattern on your website I'd like to use as my logo. Is there any way that I could do that? Sure, absolutely. It's yours. Take it. Unbeknownst to me, that's what he used as his logo. You know, and I found this out like a year ago, like a year down the road after I started. But what had happened was Charles Deering, he's a friend of mine, a scroll sawer that does tremendous portrait work, pattern making. But he's a pattern maker and a scroller. But he superimposed a picture of me and put my actual head over the pattern of Steve Good's pattern here. That's actually my head on that pattern, superimposed to fit it. Because if you look at Steve Good's actual pattern, it's with a baseball cap. Well, I don't wear baseball caps. And I said, you know, Steve, I don't wear baseball caps. Would you mind if I change that? No, sure, go ahead. You make it yours. So Charles altered it up to make, you know, and that's where this pattern came from.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's an awesome. So yeah, I'm glad that you told us that, because I had no idea.
Yeah.
Let me ask the other scroll sawers here on this panel here. Is there anything you would like to ask? Well, did JP just have a connection? What?
Well, I brought something out hoping JP would be here.
I have a question in the meantime. Is it scroll sawer or scroll sawyer?
Scroller.
Scroller.
There you go. That's what Sterling's holding up now. The scroll saw puzzle pieces. That there is the very first project that was what basically caught my eye and made me buy a scroll saw. That exact project was the reason what got me into scroll sawing.
Well, I love that story. You could tell that 1,000 times. I love that. That's the inspiration right there. Is what keeps me going. That makes me want to make another video right now. Well, let's hear a little bit about any thoughts you have on Sterling, JP, and let's see what Sterling has to say about that.
I can't remember any years ago exactly it was now. I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, I've said this story already once today. They asked me how I got into scroll sawing. And I basically said I'd watched many thousands of hours of woodworking videos and not once seen a scroll saw in all these hours of videos. And then one day up popped Sterling's video. Now, I may have watched one of Sterling's other videos, but never once seen a scroll saw. And then all of a sudden up popped these puzzle piece coasters and the scroll saw. And I was like, there you go. I want to have a go at that. It was small, it was compact, and it was like, bang. It's like a light switch went off. And I had to have a scroll saw. So that Christmas, Vicky, mother off, got me a scroll saw, and I was hooked. 3 months later, I was doing portraits of John Lennon. That was my first one. Obviously, I started with simple little projects like silhouettes of like dogs, cats, name plaques, that sort of thing. But yeah, the first portrait I done was John Lennon. And then eventually I got I hated being restricted by the pin, so then I went to the record scroll saw and just gradually got better and better and better. But I kind of took to it like a duck to water. But my first actual, I guess, talking video, if you like, on YouTube was the video dedicated to Sterling. Before that, it was just a slideshow, basically, of the crap I'd done beforehand, if you like. You know, just the little bits and bobs that I'd done beforehand. Like nothing special, but there you go. That's kind of what I can do.
And with that, JP, Sterling was this close to getting really, really upset today because you weren't going to be on the show. So that awesomeness, inspiration, and Sterling there wanting to stir some stuff up. What do you have to say?
Yeah.
What do you have to? You know what? That's it. We're
putting and it's and all of this stuff that's going on with me with Record Power now. I still put it down to the likes of Sterling, because if it wasn't for Sterling and everything else that's going on with me in the community, I still put it down to Sterling, because if it wasn't for Sterling and that little, quite simply, simple video, I wouldn't be here now. I'd still be watching Carl Jacobson turn a bowl.
Uh-oh. Now you're trying to stir a pot.
For the second time, shot. Well, no, yeah, shots fired. I was gonna say JP just put little batons and beat him like a Bobby.
But yeah, I'd probably still be watching other videos or something like that. I would have eventually picked up another tool, but I would have easily started a lot later than I would have if I hadn't seen Sterling's video.
Well, Sterling. Well, go ahead, Sterling. Go ahead.
Well, no, and that's what I was aiming for, is the simplicity of what I was trying to come across as, hey, you can do this, you know, this little thing, but this little thing could mean something to somebody. You know, my wife loves these coasters. I barely got them out here just for this video. So and that video in itself, you know, help inspire JP. That makes my heart happy. It does. You know, the thing. Yeah. I don't want my head to swell, but at the same time, I'd love to hear the number of people that, you know, I've done it because Sterling, and that's fine. And I'm not saying that because I want to boast myself up. I'm not. It's just, it's a neat thing to see how you evolve through the community and how the community grows because something you did, because of something JP did. Someone else started their YouTube channel. Because of something that Eloy did, someone else started their YouTube channel. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, it's like it just reverberates with good vibes, good intentions, and it continues. It's better to have. Yeah. It's better to be in the positive and have good vibes going out into the world, positivity, you know, than screw it, you know, crap.
It's a good feeling that. I mean, what's the saying? That the student becomes a teacher. You know, that people are all of a sudden coming to you for advice. You know, I mean, I've got called up to Record Power to basically help them design a new scroll saw. You know, now yeah, I'm not going to tell you what we spoke about. Now, whether they take on board what I said, that's another matter. But
well, you heard it here first, live on the Mad Make. We have the inside Skippy. Doc, is that the inside Skippy at least?
Dang, Skippy, that's the inside Skippy.
Heck yeah! Go on, JP.
Yeah, whether they take on board what I said is another matter.
Awesome.
Do I need to start saving my? What's the currency you use? What, the pounds? Do I need to start saving my pounds for my JP
pounds
for my JP metric scroll saw? But I'll have to.
There'd be a lot of pounds because there might be two.
Well,
All right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now. Me and JP's already had this discussion. When his scroll saw comes out, I get the first #1 edition.
That's fine.
So, Sterling, a couple of things. Who are the makers out there? And I want you to be more specific than broad. Who were the ones that you first sort of took a liking to, that, you know, first when you first started on the YouTube thing, that venture of exploring YouTube, and you started your channel and all that? Who were the ones that you know connected with, that you were that felt close with, that you liked those projects? Give us a few of those.
Well, it's very generic because it's back in the day to where there wasn't that many. You know, I knew of the Wood Whisperer, and I watched his videos, but that wasn't my style. That wasn't what I was going after. So I really never did reach out to him, but I loved his stuff. I love what he did. But when I came across, obviously, Steve Good was amazing. He just was with open arms, was one of the best, and still to this day is one of the best helpers that I have within the community. Scroll sawing questions, anything to do with, you know, questions I have directed toward him, he gets me an answer, and he's been that way for the last 6-7 years. But as far as making videos and starting a channel, that would have to go to Steve Ramsey. I reached out to Steve Ramsey after a few videos, and again, he was the same way. He was very humble and very helpful in giving me direction on things to do, how to do it, and how he did things, and helped me, you know, launch my channel, you know, the way I did. You talk back in the day, there was a small group of people. I can remember the very first woodworking show in Winston-Salem. I believe it was 2015 or 2014. I can't remember, whenever it was in Winston-Salem. But that was the first actual meetup there ever was when it comes to content creators. And one of the biggest cheerleaders that I had, and I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with, and really is a good friend and close friend that I feel comfortable talking about anything, not just woodworking, just anything in general, is Jack Howling. Jack is an amazing friend, and I've learned so much from Jack. I don't know how many people know Jack, but he is an insane woodworker, an insane mind, and just a brilliant person. And he was a big inspiration to me. I guess that would be the big three, I guess you'd say.
All right. So JP, or how are we going to do this? I guess we'll do this. Doc, or whoever wants to, questions out there in a little bit. What we're going to do is, I didn't mention this to Sterling, but what we're going to do is, we're going to play strip poker. I'm kidding. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to, well, it doesn't matter, because all there is the square where our heads are at.
I'm still out.
Do we have to play our stripper song? Because that might be inappropriate for yours on mine.
No, what we're gonna.
You can leave your hat on.
Well, we're gonna do.
That's the best stripper song ever.
Well, what we're not. It was just a quick joke, and you guys are creating a world out
of regular at Dangles. It's the only song in the jukebox.
Yeah. I told you, Eloy, this was gonna happen.
We're gonna show your Instagram, and I want you to give us the lowdown, you know, of each picture. Just give us a quick thing. So we're gonna cycle through the Instagram so people can see that. And by the way, all the links to you are in the description as well, Sterling, along with, well, for goodness sakes, I think I need to add Doc again, because JP was the last minute, and I didn't know until.
Doc should be there anyway.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll fix that.
Two co-hosts.
Yeah, well, we'll fix it. Anyways, long story short, we'll do that. But are there any questions going down out there, Doc?
Yeah, there's a couple that we have on queue here.
Okay.
The first one is from John Be Happy Woodworking and Honeybees. How much of your shop space do you have left? And I'll pop onto that. Is there anything you're looking to put in an empty space?
Well, I mean, it's a 2-car garage. I think it's 30 by 30. And honestly, everything that I've got in here is what I use. I don't buy to buy. I buy as I need. That's something I've learned along the way is I don't buy a tool unless I need the tool. But I don't know of anything that I need to add that I don't have. I'm actually getting rid of a few tools this weekend. I'm going to an event, to a meetup, and I'm actually taking some tools with me that I'm going to give away to other makers that may have that need. So, yeah, I'm not looking to add anything. I'm comfortable with the size that I have. I'm just looking around the shop. I did just recently add this rigid oscillating sander. It's amazing. I love that sander. The orange one that tilts and it's got the. I love that sander. It's amazing.
Your kids bought you that, right?
Yeah, my daughter and my son got that for me for Father's Day.
Oh, that's cool. How do you feel about her stealing it back from you now? That
No,
brings
it's
up
okay.
that was a question from Julian. He wanted to know how you felt about seeing your daughter on it.
Two things about that. She's home and doing it in my garage, and 2, I can upgrade my tools to buy me a new scroll saw, and she can have my old one.
There you go.
So no, it's good having her home.
I've actually got found 2 questions from the chat as well. Matt Hoss actually said, "You're the reason I'm on YouTube. How awesome is that from a scale from 1 to Pat Lap?"
1 to Pat Lap, I'd have to say Paul Jackman.
That's a good answer. I'm not sure whereabouts that is on the scale though.
That's
right on top of Pat Lap. And Temple Boy Turner says, "Can Sterling dance the beautiful Tennessee waltz?"
I can, but only whenever I have indulged in a clear beverage.
There you go. All right, Eli, that's it, mate. That's all I got.
All right. So before we go into that bit with the Instagram, I'd like more so than me ask you, because we have the opportunity. You're more scroll saw centric, although we have other tools, but focusing on this as well as JP, he focuses heavily on projects. I'd like you guys to do the Instagram bit, like questions back and forth. So I'm going to screen share that. But before that, the scroll saw you purchased and you started doing, you also have a lathe among other tools, but you seem to go back and forth at times. Although the scroll saw is what kind of you're known for. Why did the lathe interest you? And tell me about our hangout, or actually no, the Temple Boy Turnings Mad Maker Show episode, where we hung out for like 20 hours, and you jumped on and you challenged Temple and the whole thing. So tell us about the lathe. Tell us that story, and then we'll do the whole thing with you guys talking Instagram photos and sharing.
I mean, as far as the lathe goes, that goes back to the YouTube. I mean, I'm just scrolling through looking for different things on YouTube, and I came across, obviously, Carl Jacobson. He was one of the first wood turners that I came across. And that just intrigued me, about wood turning and how he turned this log into this bowl. I've never saw that, even from the mountains, I didn't never see anything like that live. We take a chisel and a hammer and we knock it out, but we never had a machine that would turn it that fast, and it fascinated me. So when I saw that, I kind of dropped Carl a few messages about how to start and what to buy and all this and that, and it just kind of evolved from there. But started out with pen turning, which fascinated me that I could actually take a piece of wood and turn it into an ink pen. That was pretty neat. And then you know, as the shows and the meetups went on, and you go and see things live, and you're like, well, I want to try that. I need that to try with this, and it's like a rabbit hole. It just evolves. That's the only negative side to these shows. It's not really. The meetups are great because of all the fellowship that you have, but then you see these things that you don't have, and you're like, I need to try that. I need to, you know, what's new that is out there. And if it's something that's just out of my reach, I'm just not going to do it. But, you know, when it comes to like the carbide tools, I use carbide tools wood turning because I can't grasp or take the time to learn traditional wood turning. Not that I don't want to, I do, and I will eventually. But right now, with my work schedule, I can't do traditional wood turning with traditional tools because, number one, I don't know how. Number two, I don't have the time to take the time to learn how. So carbide tools works for me. Is that wood turning? That's like saying is, you know, CNC woodworking. Well, surety.
Dude, you've opened up a can of like this. Why do you have to create drama live on my freaking show? What is the why?
I'm a positive guy, though. I say yes. CNC is woodworking. I do, because I mean you have to create the patterns, yes, in the computer, and there's computer work involved. But it don't just carve the wood. There's things you have to do with it, put the thing together. You know, it don't do everything for you, so it's still a part of woodworking.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with me, though. I'm not a computer guy by no means. You know that tonight just by the hangout, because I can't even get on my own computer. We're on my phone, so I'm not a computer guy by no means. So the CNC and the computer side of it freaked me out. I've had 2 sponsors in my life, and it's not because I reached out to them; they reached out to me. One of them was the X-Carve. It didn't go well because I'm not that kind of guy. My mind can't comprehend what I'm a mountain boy. I'm not a computer boy.
But
So,
there are mountain boys that are computer boys.
Yeah, but my mind don't work like that. It just don't.
Okay.
So I fulfilled my obligations with X-Carve with no disappointment. I enjoyed the process, and I enjoyed what I learned doing the process. But that thing was going to sit there and collect dust. I'd never use it again. So that opened up the door to upgrade. This is where I got my DeWalt 788 scroll saw now. I traded up. You know, they got a better deal because I know the thing costs more than the scroll saw did, but how much more value have I gotten out of my scroll saw than I would have gotten out of that X-Carve?
You know what? I don't mean to interject. Continue. You just made me think of something, but.
And I don't mean to bash the X-Carve by no means. It may be a great thing. It could be the worst. I don't know. I personally couldn't make it function the way I wanted it to.
Okay, I'm going to have to interject and just tell you, I kind of agree with what, I don't know, we're going to have to see what JP and Doc say, but they're going to have different answers or maybe similar ones. I agree with you. So I like the idea of you grab the piece of frickin' wood or MDF or whatever, and you can go and scroll, and it's like, boom, and you're scrolling. But with the other thing, there's all these sort of, you have to set it up and this and that. Maybe it's easier if you know because you have it. So I kind of agree with you. I'd love to have one, but at the same time, I'm like, so you put it on it's not as accurate. Can be. But so I kind of agree with you on that. I'm sorry for, it's just you made me think of.
I mean, I literally did a test to where I set up one pattern on the X-Carve, and I had the same exact pattern for my scroll saw, and I let that carve it on the X-Carve, and I was done 2 hours sooner from my scroll saw. Now, was the precision better on the X-Carve? I mean, visually, you couldn't see it. I could see it up close, but to the naked eye, looking at it through a lens, you'd never see the difference.
What do you guys think, JP, Doc?
Yeah, I mean, from a scroller's perspective, you can get a pretty damn straight cut. If you're using a number 5, number 7 blade, or even a number 9 blade, you can get a real straight cut. I mean, a number 9 blade is basically a real thin bandsaw blade. You know, and you can, yeah, it would be. I can definitely see where Sterling's coming from. It'd be real hard to tell the difference.
Doc?
Well, I think that CNC is one of those disciplines that, like anything else, you definitely have to put in your 10,000 hours of practice. If not the practice, you have to put in your 10,000 hours of setup time. I'm sure you do hit a point if you're using that machine all the time where it does take care of itself and you know what's going on and whatever. But yeah,
But I think you're going to need to have 10,000 hours worth of scrolling practice to compete with a CNC.
well, yeah, I'm not saying one against the other. I'm just talking about the discipline of it and then how people take it in. I know people that have CNCs. It's not easy.
I think that Javi, Mark Lindsay, CNC, you do it, and a bunch of the other cats are going to take issue with this episode, or at the very least, this section of it.
Not me. That was what I said. I'm pro.
Let me say this, Eloy, and I'll say this outright.
Send all your dirty letters. Send all your make them in care of Sterling Davis.
P.O. Box 1242, Dallas, North Carolina 28034. All right, so I appreciate these guys, the CNC guys. I don't discard them as not woodworking. I do, but I can't. My mind can't comprehend what they do. Is it because I don't take the time to learn it? Probably, but I think I tried long enough to know that I wasn't grasping it. It wasn't for me.
Just for the record, for me, all the disciplines and all the tools fall under the creative and the person, the brain that's controlling it. But out there, you know how you have trolls and this and that, and so there's ongoing jokes out here. By the way, if you don't have a knife ready at hand right now, you're not a woodworker. Doc's good. Let's see, Doc. Show it. Boom.
You got me.
JP's running. Oh, he's got a leather wallet. Sterling.
You know what? Joe, it's actually there, but some prick has taken it out.
Oh, there goes Sterling. Okay. All right, fair enough. And we can't judge JP because theft is a good excuse. He showed the wallet or the sheath, and somebody had taken the knife out. So
I thought you were going. This is number one right here. This is always number one.
Oh, you had that ready. Boy, you know what? Mine is right here.
Oh, there you go.
What's up, mother trucker?
But it's a Pittsburgh. That don't count.
What was that?
Okay, we're good. No, Sterling was saying, yeah. There's Doc's as well.
And while I was out there, I found that.
Oh, nice.
That
was the very first one I ever done. Actually, I might sign that and send it to you, Sterling.
Oh man, I'd hang that up in the living room. No kidding. That's amazing.
Well, Sterling, let me ask you this because we have a lot of stuff to take care of. So let me ask you this. Before I asked you about the lathe, and you gave us the rundown, but tell us about that one Mad Maker hangout where we were interviewing Twidell, Temple Boy Turning, and then you challenged him. Was it that you challenged him, or what? Can you explain?
Well, I mean, he Temple Boy is amazing. I've never seen anything that he hadn't done that he was asked to do not done. And I'm sitting here racking my brain, and I'm in the middle of doing this was right after the fires in Gatlinburg. November 2016 was the fires in Gatlinburg, and I'd recently picked up some burned lumber from there, and I was turning a bowl, and I used that bowl to make some fruit. And I was putting fruit in there, and I didn't have a banana. And my first thought when I was on this hangout, I was like, you know what? I bet you can't turn a banana. And he said, you want to bet? He goes and grabs a piece of wood, and he turns a freaking banana. Who does that? I've never seen anyone. I mean, he off centers this thing like 7 times to turn a banana. It was insane. I don't know if that episode is live or available, but if it is, you need to go back.
It's somewhere.
You need to go back and just watch him turn that. That's crazy. But then I had a pear after he done the banana. I had a pear on my lathe, and something came up about a pear. I said, "Well, mine don't have a leaf on it. A leaf on the pear." Well, he turns the pear and then off centers it with a stem and adds a leaf to it as well. Who does that? I mean, he's like the insane wood turner. It's amazing what he does. And how when you see his stuff and it's turning, did you see the hand he did?
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh my God. The carving that went along with that, it was amazing. I love Temple Boy. His work is amazing.
Now, I'm going to take this opportunity right now, right before we go to the, whatchamacallit, the Instagram section. I'm just taping off addresses so that no one's the wiser here. Just blocking it off. Oh, great. There we go. Blocking it off so no one knows. I got a letter in the mail. Oh, does it show? No, it doesn't show squat. I got a letter in the mail, and I want to open it up real quick. I know who it's from, but, oh, wait, what? What? Flying 9. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to open it officially. We're going to open the Flying 9 with the Dan the Maker Man Elven sword. This is officially the Dan the Maker Man Elven sword letter opener.
You should be privileged. How in the world did you get that from Dan?
Well, Dan the Maker Man gave it to me for Christmas, and I was like blown away. So, let's see what's the story.
The things he does when he's drunk at Dangles.
A doc letter. Enjoy the sticker. I got 2 official stickers, Flying 9 and Murdoch, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Murdoch is my favorite shirt. I wear it everywhere.
Flying9.com.
Mark Lindsay said they were paternity test results.
And guess what? Guess what?
You are not the father.
Guess what? Established back in the day. How bad to the bone is that?
Yeah, I don't have my Flying 9s yet, but I'm hoping to upgrade one day.
Well, we're going to take care of that very soon, Sterling.
Eli, I got a couple of Benjamins in mine.
Really? Well, hey.
To spend at Poundland.
Yep. The next party's on me.
All right, so we're going to go into the Instagram thing, and I'll let Doc and JP ask the questions and do the interaction. If I have a question, I'll throw it in, but I want to go through the list. I'll screen share and do that, unless you guys want to do that. But before that, I want to ask one final pre-Instagram showing question. Is that okay, Sterling?
Yeah, and I want to mention, too, before you ask that, I want everybody to understand my son's computer is messed up. I'm on my phone right now, so I can't see any chats or conversations. So if you're asking something and I don't see it, I'm sorry. I can't see it. And I hope that, the other guys are seeing it and maybe we'll ask it. I'll be happy to ask any. I have nothing to hide. So if you got questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
All right, cool. So we'll do this one final pre-Instagram thing, and then we'll come back. We'll keep it within a relative Instagram short thing, but we want to show some of the images that you are involved in making so that it can be, added to the record. But here's the question, Sterling. What is Sterling Davis's or Sterling Davis's? Can I use the apostrophe S on there? What is Sterling Davis's philosophy on life, on motivation? What is what is the thing that you go by that makes you think in the positive? Can you please share that with us, whatever the answer you might want to share?
Okay. Well, we can get into an area there that is unpopular in a lot of spectrums when it comes to social medias. I try to keep it as simple as possible and say, be kind to one another. That's the message I try to share to people, through my videos, through my postings. I mean, if you want to go a little bit further into that and be in depth, I am a Christian. I'm a Southern Baptist. I'm a sinner, probably the chief of sinners. I'm not perfect, but I do believe in my God. I'm not ashamed of that, and I'll never rebuke that. But it's a matter of living life the way I would want to be treated and treat others in that way would, I guess, be my message. Be kind to one another. I don't know any other simpler way to put it.
That's perfect. And just to expand on that, or just to take a little off-road sort of extra question. So that's wonderful, right? So now in the context of whenever you're down and you can't quite fix it in your head or if that ever happens, what advice would you give a person, Sterling, like they come up to you, you know what, man, yeah, I'd like to be able to do this or that, X or Y, but I don't know, and this and that, like sort of that negativity, that sort of like discouraging when you see that in a person and you'd like to give them sort of a fresh look. Do you have anything for that?
You just have to remain positive. You can't feed off of negativity. If you feed off negativity, you're going to get a negative vibe, and you have to be positive in any of those aspects. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a positive person year round. I've got my ups and downs too. There's valleys in every mountain. So, I mean, it happens. But you've got to overcome that and reach out to that positive side, and don't feed into the negativity. Don't feed into the trolls. Don't feed into the naysayers or if I could do that if I had that tool. Don't get into all that. Have fun with it. I get all kind of nasty comments, even though I do the be kind to one another thing and try to be the positive message, there's negativity that comes back my way. For the most part, it don't get under my skin. Every once in a while, I'll have one person I'm like, well, why do you think like that? I don't understand what makes you think that way. And I try to have fun with it and not feed into that negativity, because this means he wins or she wins or whoever it is doing it wins, because they're wanting to bring me down because they're down. I'm not going to do that. I try my best to stay positive and give that positive feedback.
You know what? Just to end that line of questioning, that, by the way, that's awesome. I totally agree. A lot of, I guess, just about every maker that we've interviewed, JP and I, Doc and I, and now the three of us interviewing you for the first time ever, we've had a similar, within that sort of scope, sort of, knowledge, that idea. And I think that it could be taken for granted that sort of, decisive thing that well, there's external forces. We get beat down. You got to get up. You got to do what you got to do. End of story. That makers kind of have that. It's an amazing thing. Just pointing that out. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and do a present of Sterling's Instagram. And I hope I don't botch this up like I did on the Scroll Saw Scribblers.
Yeah, I want a part 2.
Well, guess what? That's within the realm of possibility.
We're going to skip 2 and go right to 3. Really throw people off. That way you can tell Justin that you're somehow be like, that's so great. I had to have 3 parts. We'll try to give you some bragging rights.
So we've got the fruit bowl. Give us a lowdown on this, and we have this banana. I mean, just talk to us, Sterling.
So the yellow banana and the pear, that's actually Steve Twaddell's Temple Boy Turnings. I got that from Ireland. How does that happen? How cool is that we're in a community that this guy's in Ireland. He turns this because I challenged him, and it's sitting on my living room, coffee table here. That's pretty cool. But with the whole background behind this whole bowl, how it came about, the bowl itself and all the fruit that I turned within that bowl was from the Gatlinburg fires of 2016, where 14 people lost their lives. And I wanted to do something as a tribute to that and have something to, commemorate, their memory. So that's what that bowl is. And I wanted, Temple Boys sent me that, and I wanted it to be a part of that. So that's pretty cool.
Is that the pear that he did as well?
That's the pear he did, and the banana is on top. Everything else under that is what I turned, and I actually did my banana on the scroll saw. So
very cool.
Scroll saw banana.
Yep, he turned the banana on the lathe, so I did a scroll saw banana.
Tell me, any of you guys, where to stop and show and this and that. I'll just be the navigator. But you can speak up whenever. Be decisive.
Well, I mean, a lot of people.
Well, here, let's right there.
Zoom
in on Sterling wearing a really nice shirt.
This one.
Yeah.
Nope, from there. There you go.
Yeah.
That is it.
He's with his boy Austin and his Father's Day gift.
And really looking just ruggedly handsome.
That was on Father's Day.
What a great shirt.
Yeah, my daughter, she was still in Colorado. She was she still is. She's active Army, and she was there on Father's Day. So she forwarded the money to Austin, and he put his part in, and they bought me that for Father's Day. So that was pretty cool. And that's my daughter. That's Specialist Davis in the United States Army. That's my girl.
Some of the best videos you post is when you surprise Amber and she has no idea that you've just turned up.
Yeah,
just to see the reaction videos.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You turned that? What's that made out of there, Sterling?
That's a little piece of oak. We was actually in Gatlinburg up at Cades Cove, and we went into one of the little stores there. And I seen this little vase. It's probably in the palm of your hand. It fits in the palm of your hand. And they had $35 on that. And I don't discredit people for handmade things. I think that's awesome. If they can sell that for that, that's amazing. But I told my wife, I said, I want to go home and try to turn that. And if I can, and I can sell that for $35, we're starting our store, So I just took a piece of oak. In about 15 minutes, I took a texturing tool, and I just drilled a hole into the end of it, and that's what I come up with in about 15 minutes. I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And it's just a little simple little vase that you drop a little flower in, something, a decorative piece for a table or whatnot.
You got a nice bit of finish coming off there.
Yeah, that come off with, what is that? Doctor's.
Oh, the walnut oil, is that?
That's a little piece of walnut that I got up at Chimney Rock.
Nice.
That's the good thing about living around the mountains. There's endless of wood.
That was a video, right? You've done on that?
Yeah, I did a little video on that one there too. I actually did a little scroll saw piece in the top of it to where it's a little mountain scene that glue up in the top of it. There you go. Yeah. That you can just do whatever you want with that, but it was made out of a 2x4 and a piece of 2x6, some scrap stuff laying around, something that my wife saw on Instagram, and I said, well, I want to try to make that. So And the things that I do, I don't do it to try to copy somebody I do it just to see if I can do it and do what she wants.
Yeah. There you go. Now you're talking.
There you go. I think we won that, didn't we, JP?
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
We did.
Football.
By quite a margin.
Yeah, the dedicated ones buy 2 shirts like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Richard didn't let his other half have a T-shirt, so I gave her my one, and I said I'll get another one. But we're going to be releasing the shirts again soon.
Yeah, that's the little piece I gave to my mother-in-law on Mother's Day.
Now, someone had asked. Someone had asked. I think it was Steve Nealon, or AKA Steve Harneal.
Harneal
Wanted to know a little bit more about this and how the experience was taking it up there in person and all that.
Yeah, that was actually the second one. The first one was the elder Billy Graham. So people that know Billy Graham, most people know that he had passed this past year. Well, he's from this area. He's from Asheville. He has the Billy Graham Library in Charlotte. So I'm very familiar with him. I've seen him preach. I've seen him. He's been an integral part of my life, my family's life within TV. And so with his passing, it was very emotional. It was like a part of my family passed as well. And I wanted to do something to try to commemorate that, the passing. It wasn't about recognition. It wasn't about skill. It was about, I love this man and what his message was and what he did for me in my life. And this particular piece here is the one that I did that I donated to the Billy Graham Library in Charlotte. I reached out to Charles Deering to see if he would be able to do the portrait, which he done the pattern for me. And I scrolled that out on my scroll saw from the pattern that he made on the picture I gave him. And then the younger Billy Graham, the other Billy Graham portrait was the younger Billy Graham. And that was actually the one behind the pulpit at his first revival in Los Angeles. And that pulpit is in the Billy Graham Training Center in Asheville. And I go by there all the time. And I was like, people are trained here and have he's inspired so many different people through this point. I wanted to give that young Billy Graham scroll portrait to the training center. And it was very humbling. It was very emotional. And it was very satisfying at the same time, if that makes sense.
Very good. Very nice. Is this the Southern Woodworkers booth?
That was in the Southern Woodworking booth. That's where Peter Brown was actually doing a little seminar on epoxy. And I've actually got that piece that is over on my lathe on the wall here. I'm not going to get up and move to get it, but because I asked him at the end of that, I said, "Are you going to use that?" He said, "No, here you go," and he threw it at me. And I've got it over here waiting to turn it.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, go back. I wanted to talk about the millennial versus the X.
This?
Or was it Paul Jackman? No.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Paul Jackman. There you go. So that picture it got a lot of publicity because Paul Jackman is known in the community as the millennial Jesus. He's a millennial. He has millennial views, but at the same time, he's a freaking amazing craftsman. He does a great job at the things he does.
Right. So the millennial part, which is a terrible thing, balances out with the cool stuff he makes.
Right. Yeah. but just to sit down and hear him talk and have a conversation with him, it's so cool to be able to. The vibe he puts off is he's a humble guy. He don't talk a whole lot, but when he talks, it was like he's direct. It's weird. But I said, Paul, look, we got to get a picture. You're my boy. And now that's a lot that picture gets is, he's my son because of the pallet upcycle challenge. And I'm kind of honored at the same time, humbled that he was able to do that with me.
Talk to us about this flag.
That was a great video, by the way.
Yeah. My daughter, she actually came home from leave, and she wanted to do something in the shop with Dad. So the video, the concept was I was taking a nap in a recliner, and she came out and she'd done this flag on the video. But we were in the shop together working. You don't see it in the video, but it goes back to me just showing her how the table saw works and measurements. And, you know, I don't know how many people know Fetty. He's the DIY redneck. Good friend of mine, a great maker, great in the community. But I bought a template from him, the Stars and Stripes template to spray paint, and you know, she just wanted to make something. So yeah. I love Andy. So I listen back to y'all the podcast, and not try to reiterate it on the podcast, but I listen back to some of the stuff y'all talk about, and I'm a few years older, not many, but a few years, and that was like my show. Andy Griffith was the show that I grew up with.
I see now. I feel like not to go on about that, but I watch those shows too.
Sorry, Doc, if you quickly scroll up a minute, that baby one there with the mother and baby, that was one of the ones that I done.
Yeah, I done that one because of you, JP.
Yeah, so it's like gone full circle.
Yeah.
All right. So this is under Sterling Davis on Instagram, and we have all the links. Let me see how to do this properly without stop presenting. I should be coming back, and your screen stop screen sharing. All right. Last time I messed that up big time.
There he is.
Yes,
Part 2
you
starts.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions here in the chat before we continue?
I'm just quickly scrolling up. No, I can see it.
Do you have anybody actually still watching? Is people
Yeah,
there?
there's still people out there.
People are really hard up for something to do sometimes, Sterling. What can you? That's no. Obviously, that's not the case. I don't want people come out to watch you.
It's okay. I would have totally.
I like how you like to sit there and downplay. Oh, I'm no one from nowhere and podunk and whatever. And yeah,
I love you, dog.
I love you back, bud.
You're coming this weekend, right?
Yep.
It's gonna be a blast, brother. I promise you.
I yes, it is. I'm trying to downplay it right now.
Well, you gonna partake with me?
I will partake in the sacrament for one.
Okay.
I'm not going to get out of hand. It will not happen.
Yeah, I said that in Atlanta.
So Sterling,
I'll just say this: peer pressure's a bitch.
So Sterling, question for you:
Yes, sir.
did you enjoy tonight?
Absolutely.
Will you come back and see us?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Listen, dude, I appreciate every time a guest comes on and they share of themselves and their thoughts and ideas. You know, that's the whole point, and it's always an amazing thing to get people's different perspectives. So I really appreciate you coming on, and we did an hour and a half about. So you said, well, I don't know what we're talking about. We could still there's much more, but we'll have you on again. We got to do the rounds. But you see how that works?
Oh, you don't even know, man. I left so much stuff out.
Well, see, that's how we get you to come back.
I just want to make sure we got more views on this one than Justin's, because that's going to really piss me off.
Dude, you know what's really so Justin's the Scroll Saw Scribblers episode has gone wild. So you have an uphill battle. I would suggest you just for your sake, I would suggest then you share this like everywhere, because you've got an uphill. There's a battle.
There was the addition of Bobby Duke in that one to throw a real monkey wrench in the operation.
All right. Well, I'll say this publicly. Justin Christensen, I love you just enough to get to heaven.
There you go.
Hey, that's all you can. That's all you can hope for, dude. I do want to mention. Are there any shout outs that you'd like to make? We do have your links down below in the description. I have to add, I believe, docs there. Any shout outs? Anything that we should know that you're up to, that you're going to be up to?
We are doing a meetup this weekend, and Tony Rillo's homestead there. That's going to be a little slip and slide party. I'm looking forward to that this weekend up at upstate New York. As far as meetups go, it's kind of hit and miss. Typically, I'm in the Atlanta area when it comes around in March. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I might be able to do Birmingham next year, depending on the Maker Central dates and times and all that. But
it's the 11th and 12th of May at the NEC.
Okay, so I have to look that up and see what's going on there. That's Mother's Day weekend. That's tough, man. Does he know that?
I think so, yeah. I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling the wrong way. I'm going back to 2017.
No, but I like to try to meet up when I can, just to meet and talk. I love meeting up with people and just hanging out and chatting and talking. And, I'm not the wisest person when it comes to woodworking. I just enjoy meeting people and talking about different things and learning different things.
Sterling, can I just, just for even though you don't feel it, I want something along these lines. This is Sterling Davis. I'm the best there is. I kick butt. Everybody sucks. Come on, hit us with something like that.
I love what I do, and I'm going to give you my best, but I'm not claiming to be the best.
No. I want to hear. This is what I want to hear, Sterling.
It's officially Wednesday in the UK, by the way, Sterling. Just saying.
Just a simple this. This is Sterling coming at you. I'ma blow your minds. Something like that.
All right, you come to the slip and slide party this weekend. I'll freaking blow your mind. I promise you, because I'm bringing something with me that's gonna make you want to rethink life.
Okay. I want to say a couple of things, and then I'll hand it over to the two other hosts. Next week we have Michael Lawing in the house. Cool. Now, what's that?
Who?
Cool dude.
Lawing in the house.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
Well, here's the thing. He was actually supposed to be on this show. We did
was he?
No, I'm the best. I'm here
Let us down, is he?
No, this is my night. This ain't Michael's night. This is my night.
Michael Knight Rider.
I was just gonna say that, JP. I picked up the same thing.
No, but here's the thing. We did a show, the Scratch Show, the podcast that you should not. It's Scratched with a D. Drop the E. That I don't recommend to anybody. I really, literally, just don't listen to it, because it's Doc, Jared HIldabrant, it's Ryan Bitters, it's Ryan Bales, and I, and we just go off the handle, and it has nothing to do with me. Just like that, hitting things and.
Yeah, we talk like people talk.
So, we were hanging out, and what happened was that I asked them, I said, Lawing, would you like to be on the next one? And then the conversation continued, this and that. And I it freaking left my head. And I reached out to Sterling because we were doing a hangout and I was working on something. I said, this is the moment for, and I totally, because I was so embarrassed about that. But next week we have going in the house. So that's what I wanted to mention. JP and then Doc, or Doc and then JP, however you figure it.
I'll go first since I am the less senior man. Thanks for having me again, Sterling. Wonderful to hang out. Can't wait to share some air this weekend. We'll say it that way. And thanks everybody out there. Awesome as always.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
I've been me. I've been drinking out of my Man Crafting mug. I'm sure all my links are going to be down below, so I don't need to repeat them. So, yeah, that's that.
We're doing short minis. I'm extracting pieces of these episodes, and it'll be JP or Doc, and we'll be asking questions of each maker. And then I'm going to just squeeze it into little, bite-sized video clips so that continues to cycle through on different topics. I have a Tony Rouleau one. I've got what's the other one? Who is there's
Rory. Rory.
And there's the Rory one where he talks about the zombie weapon challenge as well. But they mentioned, the people that we interview mentioned so many cool things. And then you have this long, episode. So some people might be able to consume that or are interested, and others after the fact might want to consume just a topical thing. So now Sterling mentioned so many that we can touch on those, grab them into little edible parts, put them out there, link everybody, and it's a cool thing. So that's the lowdown. Guys, thank you for hanging out. There's a lot of stuff going down. So do the challenges, plywood challenge. There's also a mallet challenge. Check out the t-shirts, Harneal Media. You see all the links. We'll catch you. Say goodbye. We'll catch you next time.
See you later, everybody.
Peace out.